It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Buying a new car is a big step. With many car makers, the minute you drive it out the door, you may feel like you're on your own. But at Oldsmobile, you're covered by the Oldsmobile Edge, the most comprehensive owner satisfaction program in the industry. It's standard on every new Oldsmobile. We're with you every step of the way.
It's a new generation of old.
Toasters down?
Oh.
Want to know any more? Ask Ace. That's what I do.
This Proctor Silex 12-cup coffee maker is just $7.97, and Ace 70 light indoor light sets are only $3.77.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
I don't worry about the quality of parts my mechanic uses. Put in whatever's cheapest, son. I'm gonna get rid of it once the ashtrays are full anyway.
Quality service starts with quality parts, and your Big A Pro's got them. So look for the sign of the Big A Pro.
Mark Martin comes in for another pit stop. He was running very low on fuel. Johnny's right there for you.
Motor's still running. He is revving it up. I'm sure you can hear it. He thought that the car ran out of gas. It kind of bubbled or gurgled just a little bit. Now it does shut off. They get the left side tires. They will spray ether down into the carburetor area. Waiting to get every drop of gas it is killed, so they're pushing the car to try and re-fire it. Finally, it comes back to life. 15.2 seconds for Martin.
And fellas, he needed to get that thing full of gas. If this thing goes green the rest of the way, the gas mileage he's been getting here this afternoon, he still has 54 laps to go, and that's about all he's been going.
I don't think he can make it. I really don't think he can make it the rest of the way. So, yeah, you're right, Ned. They need to get every drop of gasoline in it, and still might not be enough.
That drops him back to 11th position. John, let's go back down to you.
Bob, they can run 58 laps on a full tank of fuel, but they did not get it quite full right then. They might have been about half gallon to a gallon off, so it could be close.
You know, the fact that the thing stalled helped them to get more gas in it.
Yeah, you're right.
They were wanting to go as soon as they got those tires changed, but when it stalled, that allowed them to get more gas in. It could have been a blessing in disguise. Who knows?
I don't know whether you saw it or not, but I did. That smoke is back coming out of the back end of Martin's car. I saw it there in 1 and 2. It could be tire smoke, but I think I saw something. Now, the number 71 car of Dave Marcus has just gone to the garage area, and that's very significant for this car, number 17, Darrell Waltrip. Remember that bonus money is paid for the top 20 positions, and Darrell Waltrip and Dave Marcus were in a battle for that 20th and final point-paying position going into this race. Could very well be, and it looks very favorable right now, that Darrell Waltrip will pass Dave Marcus in the points and collect the $22,000 at the banquet.
Dave Marcus told me yesterday that he really needed to win that $22,000 he needed another engine for his program for next year, and he said that would be the thing that would get that engine for me to start in 1991. Walker's currently running in 6th place, 1 lap down. He's not far behind Earnhardt right now.
The leader of the event. Here he is, Dale Earnhardt. Now, out of the race, Kyle Petty, Bobby Hamilton, and Jim Bound. Sterling Marlin has gone behind the wall, so has Dick Trickle and rookie candidate Jack Pennington. Jimmy Horton and Dave Marcus are the most recent to drop out of competition.
There are 5 cars in the lead lap now. Earnhardt leading, Bill Elliott 2nd, Morgan Shepherd 3rd, Jeff Bodine 4th, and Dale Jarrett running in 5th. In 6th place is Darrell Waltrip, who is 1 lap behind. You might see him come into the picture. Yeah, there comes Waltrip as we get a field snapshot here. Earnhardt comes across the line, and we'll clock him as he goes around and see where your favorite driver is running on the racetrack.
Rusty, Morgan, Rudd, Harry Gant, Bobby Hillin, Jimmy Means, the King, Greg Sachs. There's Mark Martin and Bud Strickland running right together on the racetrack.
As they have been all day.
Yep. Chuck Bound. There's Terry Labonte. Rodney Combs is still out there. And the time, 32.9, and the average speed is 166.5, just about what it was last time we checked.
Mark Martin moving around the Hut Strickland car, number 12.
He's trying to, Ned, but he's struggling with it.
Has a little fresher tires than Hut has.
Good run for Hut, though, this afternoon.
Yeah, he has had a good run.
As long as Mark Martin keeps on running, anything can happen. And we've preached that all afternoon. But in the last 2-3 laps, something can happen to either Earnhardt or Martin that would completely change the championship. So far today, Dale Earnhardt has been able to lengthen his points advantage on Mark Martin, but that can all go down the drain in the last few laps of the race, and that's what makes racing so exciting.
Well, if something was to happen to Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin would be the champion.
Yep, at any time from this point. Dale Earnhardt is going to be making a pit stop, we understand, in about 6 laps. Right now, 281 are complete here at Atlanta. Dale is leading.
Nothing beats number 1. Nothing beats the king of beers. Nothing beats clean, crisp, and cold. This is the best, and we got it right here. Yeah. Nothing beats the bud, yeah, nothing beats the bud, yeah, nothing beats the Budweiser. Nothing beats the bud.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
ESPN Speed World at the Atlanta Journal 500, the final Winston Cup race of 1990 at Atlanta Motor Speedway near Hampton, Georgia, about 30 miles south of Atlanta. The leader is Dale Earnhardt. He's due for a pit stop before too long. Now there is Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott battling. However, this isn't a battle for position.
No, it isn't. In fact, Elliott is putting a lap on Darrell Waltrip, which might be very significant when Earnhardt goes in the pits. See, that would have put Waltrip back in the lead lap. But now, since Elliott is passing, Elliott's going to take the lead when Earnhardt pits, so Waltrip's still going to be a lap down.
Darrell can't go the rest of the way on the fuel that he has in that car.
And Bill Elliott, as we said, it's going to be close. We think he can make it, but it's going to be awfully close for that number 9 Coors Ford. And we know that Earnhardt can't make it. We know he's going to pit in just a few laps.
Yeah, that shouldn't be too. And the sign that it's going to happen soon is Chocolate Myers got the helmet on.
Are we sure that's chocolate under there now?
He is ready.
He's bigger than most of his crew members. He's going to raise that up and show us. And our camera went off over there, but that was indeed chocolate.
One of the hard-working members of the Richard Childress crew that has helped Dale so much accomplish what he has accomplished, not only this year, but the last few years that this combination has been into effect.
And that's one thing that Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt has going for them, is the crew has been together for several years. Chalkins, David Smith, Kurt Elmerdine, Will Lynn, all those guys have been there for a long, long time. They seem to anticipate what the other guy is going to do.
Here's another impressive statistic regarding Earnhardt's performance here in Atlanta. He's finished every race here since 1983, and he's finished on the lead lap since 1987.
So Mark Martin knew coming into this race, it was an uphill struggle, and that's why last Thursday he chose to go with an unknown, a Davey Allison car, a car he was not familiar with, because he felt like he was going to need something to beat this man.
But that something has not worked for Mark this afternoon, and Dale Earnhardt is close to a pit stop. Let's go to Jerry.
While we're waiting for Earnhardt's pit stop, I might mention he has 2 sets of plans come Monday. If he doesn't win the Winston Cup Championship, he's going to fly out of here as soon as the race is over and go deer hunting with a couple of friends. If he does win the championship, then he will probably have to stay for his commitments, obviously, to the press and media, lead to crown the 1990 Winston Cup champion. I'm sure there are plenty of deer sitting somewhere in the woods watching television right now, only for somebody else but Earnhardt to win it.
But I'll guarantee you something else. As soon as he's finished with those obligations to the media and other people, then he goes deer hunting.
Yeah, he has already been deer hunting. In fact, last week, he's coming into the pits right now. No, he's not.
Nope.
He just moved down and let Derek Cope. Of course, Cope made a pit stop here a moment ago, and Earnhardt's going to let him go. But when Mark Martin was here in Atlanta doing all that testing last week, Earnhardt came down, was scheduled for a 2-day test. Now they run about a little over a half a day. Loaded that thing back up, took it to North Carolina, and Dale went deer hunting.
Yep. See ya. It runs fine. Hey, remember this combination at Daytona, the 10 of Derek Cope and the 3 of Dale Earnhardt back in the very first race of 1990. And what a disappointment Dale suffered in that conclusion of the Daytona 500 that Derek Cope won. What a nice hot air balloon off turn number 4, huh? Pretty impressive.
You know, we were talking about Dale Earnhardt and the success he's had here in Atlanta. Kevin Clark just handed me a note. You know, this racetrack is under new ownership. Bruce Smith bought it about 6 weeks ago. Hope it doesn't do anything to Dale Earnhardt's luck here.
There's Jack Roush with a hat on, studying the situation for Mark Martin. He's going to be watching this very critical pit stop that's coming up in the next few laps by Dale Earnhardt. The crew is moving out onto pit road. Yes, indeed. Here comes Dale Earnhardt for the final scheduled time this afternoon in Jerry Punch.
Indeed, a long season, some 10 months and 25,000 miles of travel. This should be the final stop for 1990 for the Goodyear crew. Can they make it flawless? Can they get him out and let him win the championship? Left side tires only. No right side tires. Super Gordon leans over and checks the right side tires. They're going to hold him here and get him plenty full of fuel. Now he's off 12.1 seconds. He is down and away.
Well, Jerry only has 36 laps to go, so he should have been able to get enough fuel in that Chevrolet that he can go the rest of the way. Bill Elliot now has taken the lead.
Indeed, Elliot back in command of this race.
And Earnhardt got out in front of him. If there should be a caution, then Earnhardt would remain in the lead lap.
And he has plenty of distance between himself and Elliot, so he does not stand to go a lap down. Nice pit stop by Dale Earnhardt as Bill Elliott passes underneath in turn number 4. Some very impressive hot air balloons that have lifted off.
Would you love to be on one of those things, Bob?
You want to know the truth? No, because I did it about 10 years ago, and I vowed then that I'd never do it again. I love to fly, and I love to be in the air, but that was not particularly comfortable for me. We'll be back with more from Atlanta Motor Speedway in a moment.
Really want to wait for a sale? At AutoZone, our Duralast starters start at just $29.95 every day. When your battery finally quits, are you really going to wait for a sale? At AutoZone, our 5-year battery is just $38.88 every day, so you never have to wait for a sale.
Don't stop short of the beat. Just second best won't do. There's a pride in peak performance.
Take more than 650 horsepower, wide open, for 500 miles. You need maximum protection to cool it.
I want the maximum going for me. That's why I've got peak on my car and in my car every time.
Don't stop short of the peak. No, don't stop short of the peak.
First significant crash of the day has occurred here at Atlanta Motor Speedway involving Rick Wilson in car number 75. He took the 75 Dinnerville car in the wall at turn number 4. Now he comes down the banking, but it does bring out a caution flag on lap 296. What, 32 laps from the end of the race?
So everybody will come in and put on 4 tires. There are 5 cars in the lead lap. They're Bill Elliott, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and Dale Jarrett. A break for some. Pit road is closed at the moment. Rick Wilson's car sitting up there pretty close.
Hey, thank you. There we go. Earnhardt shall prevail now. Look at this. Got some other sky activity besides the hot air balloons. We have some fixed-wing aircraft flying around also. Well, the pits are closed.
But unfortunately, Steve Grissom in his first Winston Cup race didn't realize what that meant. He comes in the pits. So you know the NASCAR is going to penalize him for that move.
Looked like the field was fixed behind the pace car. It could have been that they closed
Rick Wilson
pit road.
is sitting down there with an ambulance going to the car.
That's the reason why pit road is closed. The ambulance in Rick Wilson's car is right at the entrance of pit road, and so they have kept it closed. And there is the car that you mentioned, Benny. But Steve Grissom.
I blame Steve Grissom for coming in. That's not true. He was out of fuel. That's why he had to come in.
Steve's done some amazing things in Busch Grand National Racing this year and making Winston Cup start here this afternoon. Rick Wilson is moving around in the car. He appears to be okay. He did hit the fourth turn wall pretty hard, though, in that dinner bell car. So the yellow flag is out, and pit road for the moment is closed. We'll take another break and be back with more of our live coverage here at Atlanta.
And there's the checkered flag.
When the race is over, the scene begins. The Winston Cup Scene. It's the largest and most informative NASCAR Winston Cup newspaper in the country. The pages of the Winston Cup Scene are loaded with up-to-date information, insightful editorials and commentary, expanded coverage of each race, entertaining feature articles, the latest news, terrific photography, complete statistics, and even the gossip.
45 great issues, only $35. Call 1-800-473-1742 or send check or money order to WCS P.O. Box 500, Concord, North Carolina 28025.
Hey, Bill, checking out the scene? How'd I do?
Well, let's see. Petty. Richard Petty?
Why don't you take over? I'm into the scene. Why don't you get into the scene, too?
For the best in motorsports reading, it's Winston Cup Scene. Call 1-800-473-1742. MasterCard and Visa accepted.
A field of the world's top 16 players is down to 2. Only one can win the last event of the year. See the final of the Virginia Slims Championships, Sunday afternoon at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Here are the top 10 with 297 laps complete. Bill Elliott, Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and Dale Jarrett. 6 through 10, Darrell Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Hut Strickland. Now, Rick Wilson has walked away from his accident up in turn number 4. However, pit road remains closed. There goes the car on the hook. The ambulance is pulled away from the area, but still, we have a safety truck up there, and so the pits are still closed.
I guess there's some debris up there, and they're trying to get that cleaned up before the cars drive across it and maybe puncture a tire.
Well, don't forget tonight, settle back, and at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, you can catch up on what happened today in the NFL while you're watching our race here this afternoon. NFL Prime Time, that's at 7 o'clock Eastern Time tonight on ESPN, followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals at live at 8 o'clock tonight here on ESPN. I think you're right, Benny. You can see the guy picking up some debris up there in turn number 4, so that's one of the reasons why the pit area is still closed.
And we saw him key the radio. I would imagine he's telling the NASCAR officials, it's okay, we'll open it up the next time.
You can also tell because he's moving behind that wall and getting out of the way.
Exactly. And Hut Strickland is stalled on the back straightaway. Looks like he is out of gas.
A 10th place car.
Yep.
And Davey Allison's going to push him.
Okay, that's all in the family.
How about that?
Yeah, that's good sportsmanship. Davey lost a number of laps in the pits. When we saw that smoke come from his car, we thought he might be out of the race, but they worked on it a while and got him back in, so he's a number of laps down. So now giving his dad's car a push, which is very sportsmanlike.
That car owned by his dad, Bobby, and Davey gives Hut a push back to the pit area. Pit road is open. Here comes the field down for their pit stops. Here comes Bill Elliott, and Darrell Waltrip will go to John Kernan first.
Bill Elliott expected to take on 4 tires. This is something they did not want to see.
Oh, look out, look out!
Oh, my gosh. Ricky Rudd got tapped in, one of Elliott's crewmen, underneath the cars. He came flying in. Now they push Ricky Rudd's car away. Oh, my. Now they tell Ricky not to stop because Ricky did come in contact with a couple of of Grumman. Now Bill sitting in the car. Now let's go down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Well, it should be a 4-tire change for Dale Earnhardt. They've already changed the right side tires. The crew comes around to the left side. Kurt Silverning removing the left front tire. The left rear tire already going on. Can of fuel going in the car. They are watching to make sure every lug nut is in place. Earnhardt is down and away.
Earnhardt moving back out onto pit road while there is still considerable concern up pit road for the incident that has occurred up there behind the Bill Elliott car that's involved Ricky Rudd, and the ambulance is on the scene. Here is a replay of what happened.
We see Bill Elliott stop. We see the car go to work. Here comes Ricky Rudd. The car just spins. The rear wheels lock up, and he just slams into the right rear of the Bill Elliott car, and the right rear tire changer is in there. Also, the tire carrier, I believe, was hit.
Here comes Rudd's car in. You see the right rear tire changer did not know that car was coming, and the jack man was hit as well.
Folks, I'm sorry to yell, but, you know, we know these people. They're family, and I saw it coming, and that's why I just...
We have seen so many, and you can see Dr. Jerry Punch is on the scene. We have seen too much of this in racing, incidents on pit road, and, you know, there was conversation the other night on NASCAR Live, which is a radio program done each week by Eli Gold. And there was a conversation at that point about the possibility of doing pit stops and lining everybody back up on the racetrack exactly the way they were when they came in for a pit stop, and avoiding this scrambling in the pits and everybody being on pit road at the same time. I don't know. It's something that maybe should be given some thought. We certainly want to do anything we can to avoid incidents like this. So the injured individual is being tended to down on pit road as the Atlanta Journal 500 is now 27 laps from completion.
You haven't got half the parts I need.
How about a nice, tasteful hood ornament?
No, actually, I was looking for
something in an air freshener.
At Big A, we take our customers seriously. Our nationwide parts network helps make sure we have the parts you need when you need them.
In a civilized society, a personal grooming lapse can result in a mortifying loss of station, so it behooves one to emanate the proper air. But with Right Guard Sports Stick, one gets maximum protection, and with a plethora of ambrosial aromatics, it is virtually impossible to pick up the wrong scent. Well, off to the foxes. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
We tested STP oil treatment under the worst possible conditions. In the taxi cabs in New York City. The result? Engine lift to wear was reduced by up to 50%. And now there's an STP for your newer car, too.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where an incident has occurred on pit road, to offer any assistance that he could to the injured crewman. Let's take a look again at what happened. As Bill Elliott was pulling in Ricky Rudd, something happened to Rudd's car.
It had to, because no one was close to him, and all of a sudden it looked like the right rear wheel is locked up on it, and he has no control over the car, and it just slams into Elliott's car with the people there working on it.
This is all too familiar, because Bill Elliott had the same thing happen to him. In Riverside just a few years ago. Yep. Watch the guys try to get the 5 car off the right rear tire changer. He's laying underneath the 5 car.
The jackman obviously was injured too. He was struck from behind, but I don't think he was nearly as seriously injured as perhaps the right rear tire changer. We'll not speculate on who was involved or how, of course, serious the injuries are until we get definite, absolute word from the racetrack or the NASCAR officials.
Bill Elliott's car, I mean, if you're a Bill Elliott fan, his car is injured. He's not going to win the race. I'm sure that's not a concern to Bill Elliott right now, or any of the crew, because there was some damage to the automobile that he's not going to be able to win the race, but they're just trying to finish it. Again, even if he could win the race, I'm sure it would be a very hollow victory for him.
Yes, it would.
Of course, you know, when we talk about points, he is in 3rd place in the Winston Cup point standing. Jeff Bodine is in 4th, and both of them in the top 5 here right now in this race.
That's Steve Meal right there on the right rear working on Bill Elliott's car. From Mark Martin's crew that has offered any assistance that he can to get...
That's what I mean, we're family.
Yep. And so the race will resume shortly here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but right now we remain under caution.
When we set out to engineer the ultimate spark plug, we put in a lot of long hours. We utilized a lot of revolutionary thinking. And all the while, our competition thought we were just shooting for the moon. Unfortunately for them, we shot a bit higher than that. Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
To locate a Bosch retailer or service outlet, call 1-800-882-8101.
Wild thing. It is a wild thing. Come shout and sing, join in the ring. It could be queen or it could be king. You go your way and I'll go mine. As long as you just make it fine.
Good times roll with the clean, fresh taste of Bud Light. It won't fill you up, never let you down.
Wild thing.
This week on ESPN Sunday Night NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers face the Cincinnati Bengals. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the new steel curtain defense, has given hard-hitting Pittsburgh a share of first place in a wide-open division. The Cincinnati Bengals, by land or by air, Boomer Esiason is ready for this battle for the top spot in the AFC Central. The Steelers face the Bengals, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, the final event of 1990 for the Winston Cup Series here in Atlanta, where the title is on the line between Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. The race has been marred by what appears to be a very serious incident on pit road involving one of the crew members on Bill Elliott's team. Ricky Rudd slamming into the back of the Elliott car as Rudd was making a pit stop. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who was, of course, momentarily a doctor, attending to the injured person and doing what he can. Jerry, what's the story?
Well, the two people injured, the right rear tire changer, of course, on the Elliott car, and also Tommy Cole, the jackman. Now, they have taken both of them to the infield here. The right rear tire changer, the most seriously the two injured. He was conscious when we were working with him on the ground a little bit ago, and at this point in time, it's just too early to tell. He took quite a lick there and took him to the infield care center. Tommy Cole, the jackman on the right side, got hit in the back. He was awake and alert, complaining of some lower back pain. He'll be taken in for x-rays, but he should be okay. So he is the least of the two injured. We'll try to give you a further update on the rear tire change.
All right, thank you very much, Jerry. And I'm sure from everybody at NASCAR and everybody in the pit area, thank you for your assistance and your work not only as a fine pit reporter, but also a physician. Laps continue to click away. However, we are still under yellow as this situation in the pit area will have to be straightened completely out before we get back to green flag racing. That shouldn't be too long, however. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The temperature never drops below 0. If you don't know that about antifreeze...